bent Revo nozzles, printers that are randomly skipping steps, and quite a few failures regarding bed adhesion. All this and more. PrintFix Friday, episode 57. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here and you like looking at print failures and how to fix them, or you're here to fix your own fails, make sure to leave a like and get subscribed. Remember, we are accepting all of your fails to take a look at here on the channel. You can either email them to us or tag us on all the social medias. Links, of course, will be on screen and the description down below. Make sure to use the hashtags PrintFix so we can find them. This is the post-Earth episode, and I am so glad to have met a ton of our fans, of all these people that I've been hanging out with for years on Friday night maker calls, among so many other things. Thank you all for being such an awesome community. I finally got to meet a lot of great people, like the entire team from E3D, and we scanned the guys. The girls didn't want to get scanned, but we scanned all the guys from E3D. We got the full Joel, the full Pooch, and so many other. Sam Prentice was in there as well. You'll see him being worked on throughout this episode. And it was just a lot of fun. I wish it could have been so much longer. Not that I've never heard that before in my life. But anyways, I really enjoyed it. It was my first time going to an event as a influencer. And for those that saw me, it was also my first public event without a cane. I was walking completely without my cane. And while carrying a backpack and our Artec Eva, it was in the briefcase that I was carrying. And anyone that knew that I was there was able to get a free scan, which is pretty cool. We are processing them. They're going to our editors right now, which is going to cost me some coin, but that's okay. And it's a good reason for me to remind you to support us over on Patreon if you would like. It does help allow me to do things like scan like a dozen people and charge them literally nothing to get those scans back, where normally we would charge, gosh, at least $150 to do scans at the quality that we were doing at the East Coast Rep Rap Festival. But it was really a ton of fun to see all those people. I'm gonna miss you guys, but I hope to see you all very, very soon. Anyways, enough of me reminiscing over Earth. And oh yeah, right before Earth, we scanned the Philadelphia Flyers. That was a fun one. There will be some vlog to it as well, but it will be similar to the video that came out on this past Wednesday, which was when I went out and scanned the 49ers. It was legs and arms, things I can't show on camera, but we did film a little bit of vlog content for you guys because we did go into Philly. Anyways, let's get into those fails. First up, we got a fail from my buddy DWIT 3D. Oh man, we know what happened here. We only got to look at the photo. Saying, I'm convinced your nozzles saved me from much more damage. I lost a nozzle, but saved a stealth burner. This is an E3D Revo nozzle that has met an untimely demise, as some Revos do. And I have a few extra Revo nozzles here. Might have picked them up from the East Coast Rep Rap Festival and got the silver sticker on them, so they might be a little harder than you might expect. That's right, E3D had it Revo Obsidians at East Coast Rep Rap Festival, and we're selling them, so I picked up some for our machines. But this is one of the downsides to the Revo system. You can't just replace the heat break. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not that big of a deal. It happens, and again, the likelihood of something like this occurring is so low that I'm not necessarily concerned about it. But it is something to take into account if you are particularly accident prone. I'm looking at those of you who know you're particularly accident prone, but don't want to admit it. It's okay. We're here. We can talk. Links are in the description down below. You just have to be aware that's a $20 mistake, and if it's an Obsidian, it's close to a $50 mistake. Does it suck? Yeah, it absolutely sucks. How do you stop this? Well, one, make sure that when you install your Revo system that you recalibrate your Z offset before just sending it. And then two, make sure you have enough Z hop so that when your printer moves, you can get that nozzle up out of the way. Because of the way the system is constrained, your heater core, which includes the heater and the thermistor, will likely be plenty safe. It's just going to bend basically where you see it here, right at the heat break. It sucks, but it is what it is. Also, processing scans from the East Coast Rep Festival behind me, so you guys will see throughout the video, things will change. This This is Sam Prentice's scan, and no, I'm not going to show it to you. You're gonna have to wait till he gets it. Next up, we got a fail from one of our patrons, JL Stern. He's got a Voron fail, and we don't necessarily know what happened here. My guess is it probably came off of the build plate, and he said, "It pains me to tell you that this hurts more than normal because that is carbon fiber PLA," which means that's probably 25, 30 bucks hanging out there. And if I'm correct, it looks like it's atomic, although that looks like it's going to a different printer, but that appears to be an atomic filament spool. This one sucks. By the way, I have finally seen like Vorons in person, and I want to build one. Let me know if you guys want to see me build a Voron and which Voron you want to see me build, because I don't know if I want to do a 0.1. They're just so tiny. I don't know. I think I want a Chungus. I want like a 2.4. Anyways, this sucks though, because there's so much failure involved here that you're not really able to figure out what went wrong. But this again brings up my point of putting a webcam or something on your printer so you can monitor them when you are away. Obviously, they weren't watching this print the entire time. It happens. It's life. We know how this goes. But having something to monitor it would be good. Now, if it's overnight, there's not much you can do. Maybe some sort of spaghetti detection program like Obico or Quinley Vision or some of the other ones that exist out there. By the way, if you are a company that does this spaghetti style detection, reach out to me. I would love to have you on a future podcast so we can talk more in depth about it. We've had some of your competitors, so it's only fair that we open it up to everybody in the industry. But anyways, I would guess, and this is more of a personal guess, it's the textured build plate. And I might catch hell for this, but I kind of hate textured build plates. Hilariously, I own like 3 Prusa satin sheets, but have never tried any of them. I know that they look nice. The first layer looks beautiful, and the satin sheets are supposedly so much better than the standard textured sheet, but I have actual PTSD from those textured build plates of trying to get things to stick, and nothing will bloody stick. So maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe it's not. I could just be slightly ranty about those textured build plates. You never know. But we can see that we definitely have the parts shifting throughout the build, and the printer is absolutely trying. And kudos to the Voron here. It didn't make as much spaghetti as one might expect. This looks like a few big piles of spaghetti, which should be a little bit easier to take care of rather than lots of little bits. But yeah, this one hurts. I guess we go back to, if you like it, then you should put a brim on it. What's causing these pylons to form? Well, when in doubt, you must construct additional pylons. You must construct additional pylons, and you must
construct additional pylons.
Shout out to all my StarCraft fan boys, gals, whatever out there. Anyway, it's a bad screen. It's a dead screen that is giving some problems here. This is likely just some issues with the layer of pixels that are blocking out the UV light. Clearly, they're not working here. The other option is it could be a bad file, but it's likely this screen. It sucks. It is what it is. It's just one of those cases of make sure you check your screens before you print, especially if it's been a while in between prints or you're getting up there in the hours of printing on that particular screen. There is likely no way to fix this if this is a screen problem. It's just time to replace it. If it is not a screen problem and it's a file problem, go ahead and take a look at your file in a program like UV Tools. We've covered it a little bit, maybe a deep dive coming soon. We've got a lot of content coming up. Like, I've got 2 3D scanners that you guys have not seen that I want to show on the channel. There's a lot of content coming, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But I will eventually do a UV Tools deep dive. UV Tools is a great way to check to see if this is a file problem or if it is a actual issue with your screen itself. Next up, a fail from one of our Patreon members. Of course, Patreon is linked in that description if you want to support us. From Train H13, who's had a bit of a Revo failure. This was the print that he came to find, and this was the failure that occurred. And we have an entire heater core that is shot. We can see the wires are frayed, they are burned through, and it is likely from poor constraining underneath the bottom side of a Prusa Mark III's. Also, did you remove the silicone sock from your Revo? I'm curious as to why you did that. I don't know why. But either way, this sucks because there's really no easy way to fix this. If you wanted to, you could potentially solder in new wires. But if your thermistor wires are broken, it can be a bit of an uphill battle, because even soldering with thermistor wires will create certain added levels of resistance, which will affect your heating, because now the thermistor is slightly off temperature. So that's something to keep in mind. But apparently he lives right by Printed Solid, and hilariously was at East Coast Rep Festival and at Printed Solid when I was at both of those locations, and we just kept missing each other, which was funny. But yeah, thank you to all of our Patreon members and fans that reach out at the East Coast Rep Festival. I'm sorry if I was a little bit awkward. I don't really know how to handle having fans. It's weird, because I'm just used to onlygrantrants.com, which is now a domain that I own. And if I did it right, it should lead you to subscribe to this channel. So let me know, or maybe I've screwed up the actual links. So whatever. But either way, but he does live near Printed Solid and was able to go pick up a new heater core, which is awesome. And you guys can put together why I was at Printed Solid. So get subscribed. A way to solve this, man, I don't even know what caused this failure, and neither does he. We don't know what caused this. There's no indication that anything should have gone wrong. I can tell this is likely the problem that caused it, just rubbing across back and forth. I don't know what happened here, and there are certain times where it really doesn't matter what happened. We just have to deal with the failure. I can see he had a brim, which is good. It looks like his first layer was clean. Maybe there was a partial clog that happened, and then when it came back through and it figured out the clog, it turned into a bit of spaghetti that piled up on the hot end, yada yada. I honestly don't know, but I thought this one was interesting because I've never seen this type of failure before. But this is a point to note about the Mark 3Ss. Make sure your hot end cables are well restrained, because if they're not, they will potentially hit your print instead of the actual printed parts. They should be tucked up in there, away from being a potential problem for your printer. So, belt made from pre-made G-code for my Mark 3S from Printables. Number 1, don't use pre-sliced G-code. I know that a lot of people will give good G-code, but there will be ones that don't. Please don't use pre-sliced G-code. This could have included that, and we don't know. This sucks right at the end too. Chances are that it's not pre-sliced. We can see it's not really a G-code issue. We've got some failures on temperatures, but that's kind of to be expected. But as a commenter pointed out that I completely missed on my first look of this, you notice that cable? It likely caught on the X-axis and kept it from moving. And yep, the nylon came out of the power box. You were dead on. And there you go. This is the beauty of having a community like this that is apparently really, really helpful in helping others out. Sometimes you get really good people to help out. Sometimes you don't. This is one of those times that the original poster here got a great assistance from someone that clearly knew what they were doing and provided lots of documented assembly procedures for the Mark 3S. And this is why, I've said it once and I'll say it again, I'm a Prusa fanboy. And to all of you guys on the Bamboo Lab Facebook group that have been brigading our PrintFixFriday from last week, 1, thanks for the views. 2, y'all are kind of assholes. Stop making personal attacks. And remember, these are not reviewing printers. These are reviewing printer fails. I know it might be hard to read that in the title of these videos, but I promise you, that's what these are. And my opinions are just that, opinions. If you don't like them, don't watch the damn videos, okay? Cool. Glad we got that out. Appreciate that. But this is one of the reasons I really do appreciate Prusa. There are so many helpful ways to look at solving these problems without having to go to a community. And a community that is there to assist in something like this can pull directly from those help guides. This person caught it with the eagle eye, and I really don't think I would have caught it. I personally was going to be looking at the belts and looking at one of the grub screws on your X-axis. That cable would have never caught my attention, and it's just because it was not in the forefront of my mind. This is again why I like doing this series, because there are answers that I might miss, and it's important for us to look at this and say, well, wait a minute, what is wrong about this photo? That person instantly knew it. And you would think when I look at Prusa's all the damn time that I would notice that it's sagging really bad. None of mine have that problem. They're all still perky, if you will. And you know, it's not a blue pill for this, it's a piece of black line, and I'm not here to kink shame, but that doesn't sound very pleasurable to me, at least. But I do love this about Prusa, where everything is here. You want photos? You got photos. Photos of how it should look. How about another photo of how it should look? These are all marketing images that Prusa has provided to companies or from Prusa's website directly. We can see exactly how everything is constrained properly. And of course, the individual replies back with a photo showing how it is done. And yeah, it's literally perfect. And you know, I have to agree, that project's pretty damn good, all things considered. And as somebody else pointed out, their steel sheet is also on the wrong way. The little indents here align with the pins on the back. Does it matter? No, it's wrong. It's also upside down. Like the text is upside down, so you would know to rotate it 180 degrees. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, but it is something to be aware of. So good job, Reddit commenters. You guys are awesome for helping this person out. This is why I like Prusas. I know they're expensive. I know they're not as fast as a Bamboo Lab or a lot of other printers coming out on the market. Damn it, they've got a good track record. There's lots of support, and including a wonderful live chat support. And look, I'm not paid by Prusa. God, I wish I was. But I did recently get to hang out with Joe Prusa at the East Coast Rep Festival, and it was a lot of fun. He's a cool guy. And I was really hoping to see Bamboo Lab there. But as they replied to me in their Facebook group, they were focused on getting their orders out, and I totally understand that. Maybe next year we'll get to interview them, and maybe by then I might actually have one, or maybe a few, in this shop, because contrary to the belief of the Bamboo Lab Facebook group, I actually am rooting for them. I just am a little bit hesitant, which is normal, because I'm a business owner and I don't want to be a first mover. That's not how this works. Safe is what we like. I know it won't be as fast, but that's okay. Anyways, enough bamboo ranting. Let's move on. Help! Bricked Ender 3 S1 Pro. Okay, I read through this one before we started because I wanted to get a better idea of what actually happened here. This person was attempting to do an upgrade to the TH3D firmware as well as their bed probe, and somehow bricked their printer in the process. This is why I don't always recommend upgrading your printers if you are not 100% sure that you can do it without hurting the machine. Now, I know that this is a hindsight problem and not necessarily a current problem, but it is still something to keep in mind because it's a risk that you take every single time. And we've got some decent assistance here when it comes to dealing with the firmware by renaming it so it picks the latest revision on your SD card for firmware and will reflash itself, but so far it's not working. Now, some people are talking about screen cables, and it does appear that they have had this screen apart. So I would look at potentially replacing those cables. Unfortunately, I can't exactly see if the screen is dead or what's going on. If the screen is absolutely dead and there's nothing showing on it, you always gotta try the unplug and plug back in. And hey, if you want to go the old Super Nintendo style of blowing out the cartridge before you plug it back in, I am not going to judge you. But the other thing you need to be certain of is that you're flashing the right firmware for your machine. It is common that people will flash the wrong firmware for their Ender 3s because, oh yeah, there are a metric shitload of different types of Ender 3s available on the market right now. And that is something that really becomes a problem when you start looking at these things because, oh yeah, it's a pain in the ass. So how do you deal with this? Check, 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 and double check once again to make sure that everything is exactly as it is before you go to flash firmware. And then 2, make sure you're using a good SD card, something that is branded, whether it is from SanDisk, from Samsung, from PNY, or any of the other major brands. And as much as I love Amazon, Amazon does have issues with legit cards. So it might be best to get something from a local retailer if you are really concerned. But so far, we have not personally had any issues, so your mileage may vary. But as far as bringing a printer back from the dead, I really don't know because I don't know what exactly happened. All we have is, oh, it didn't work and it's not working. Yes, you can buy a new motherboard because that will come with brand new firmware, but then you will likely need to look at replacing that firmware with the new firmware that could then still cause problems. You see where I'm getting at here. This is a problem that causes a problem that causes a problem that causes a problem. And I think the overall problem is stop screwing with firmware. I know you guys like messing with your printers. I know, I do too. But when you start playing around with firmware, you are really going into the danger zone. And nobody really likes being there, especially Lana!
What? Danger zone.
But I don't really know a good answer. Now, this would be a great time to go look at a new motherboard. Instead of going to get a crappy Ender 3S1 motherboard, go get like a Big Tree Tech SKR, whatever the hell the latest revision is now, and have some fun. I did meet the Big Tree Tech guys at the East Coast Rep Festival, but we did not, unfortunately, get time to film with them. Maybe we'll be able to do some content in the future, because I do want to play around with upgrading motherboards, and their motherboards are really, really affordable, like unreasonably affordable. And they're apparently pretty damn good. But yeah, I tried replacing my cable to my screen first, making sure that everything is well plugged in. If that still doesn't work, it's motherboard time. I don't really have a better answer for you. I'm sorry. Printer randomly pausing. See video. I'm pretty certain this didn't start happening until about 6 or 7 hours into the print. Any idea? Oh, that's not good. I know exactly what this problem is. I don't even have to read the comments. I know exactly what this problem is. You are running out of buffer space. I would guess you're printing over USB. Let's look. Octoprint on a Pi 4 also runs Clipper. First time this has happened. Yep. There you go. You are printing a circle, which in reality is thousands of tiny straight lines as far as the printer is concerned. That's not enough time between each guide command to refill the buffer, which results in the pause. Printing from SD will solve this issue, or printing a ton slower may help. They provided a video, and you can do arc welder, which should help out a bit, but yeah, Octo on Clipper has been an issue for a while. I guess you can change the baud rate as well. Yeah, it's a USB thing. It's absolutely a USB thing. It's actually one of the reasons that we don't print from USB very often. We only have one printer that runs a Raspberry Pi. It's the time-lapse printer. That's it. Because I don't like dealing with really weird USB printing problems. They just exist. I don't know why. It's a thing. It has to do with the rates at which a board can accept information versus how it can be sent. It's complicated. It's above my pay grade. If you understand it, comment below and let me know. But let me know what you guys think of this episode of PrintFix Friday down in those comments below. That's all I have for you all today. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones, please. If no other day, please call your loved ones today. There's a reason for it. I'm not gonna tell you why, but please call your loved ones today. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel member supporters whose names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. Remember, if you want to get in those fancy end credits where I talk about you all, click those links down in that description down below. Kick a couple of bucks into that creator fund. Right below me will be the entire PrintFix Friday series where you can take a look at fails, how to fix them, and sometimes me just screwing around and having a bunch of fun. And right next to that will be my trip to San Jose, which might have confused some people because we put it out the week after East Coast Rep Festival, but that's okay. Earth coverage is coming very soon. We took lots of footage with really cool interviews, as well as scans of lots of your favorite creators and influencers out there in the market. I'm really excited. And I'll see you guys down in those comments and in the next one. Take care.